For the latest on the Italian election, let's now cross live to our correspondent Roee Ruttenberg in Rome. Roee, thanks for joining us. More than 50 million Italians are eligible to vote, but the turnout expected to be lower than the 80% that the ballots in 2008. So what has the turnout been so far?
Indeed, well, we've gotten some initial numbers from Sunday's vote. The voting wait went until late last night on Sunday. 54% of voters turning out for the election. Compared to 2008, at the same time after the first day of voting, it was 62.5%, so an indication that many people are staying at home, and indeed the drop in numbers that some were expecting. On Monday today, the second day of elections, and I should point out that Italian elections are always 2 days. This is not a special scenario, but the polls are open again for another 5 hours, and we do expect to see the numbers be equally low. And it's not just because of the weather that you see behind me. It is quite cold, but many people are staying at home in protest over what they see as corruption, financial mismanagement of politics, and in general a system that they say hasn't changed in more than 20 years, and they're quite frustrated with it. In the race for the Prime Minister's position, for the building right behind me, the top seat, it does look like the left-leaning Democratic Party, the PD, led by Pierluigi Bersani, will emerge victorious. But it should be pointed out that in the polls over the last several months, his lead has dropped by half, and that's because lots of people who are actually voting, but voting in protest, are supporting the five-star movement of Beppe Grillo, which is basically an anti-system campaign. And Pierluigi Bersani has seen his support drop as a result of that protest movement. Beppe Grillo is enjoying the support of many people, including the youth, who are frustrated by the jobs, and many people who have seen recent scandals coming out, including a scandal involving a state-run defense firm here, as well as Italy's third largest bank. Now, this is quite important for Europe because Italy is the third largest economy in the 17-member Euro bloc. Indeed, it's one of the biggest economies in the world, 10 times bigger than Greece. So the markets are closely watching the results here, as are we.
Of course, everybody is looking at the results. What kind of economic policy is the new leader will impose on the country once elected?
Well, it depends who that new leader is and exactly what type of coalition that leader needs to build. For example, if it's Pierluigi Bersani of the left-leaning Democratic Party, he won't have enough support to control both the lower house and the upper house, the Senate. He'll need to form a coalition. If he brings Mario Monti into that coalition but doesn't offer him the seat of Prime Minister, which looks likely to be the case, he'll probably offer him something like Finance Minister, which means that he's basically signing on to the reforms that Monti has pushed. Those have been Euro-friendly reforms, the introduction of a housing tax, basically a strict adherence to Brussels-friendly policies. If, for example, somebody else comes out victorious, or Berlusconi is brought into the coalition, the four-time Prime Minister, or Beppe Grillo, the anti-system campaigner who has said he will not come into any coalition so far, it would mean that some of the European-friendly measures would have to be scrapped, because it would basically be an indication that the population has said no to Europe, no to the reforms that Monti has introduced over the last year as the technocrat appointed to lead the government following Berlusconi's resignation. So we'll have to be watching closely to see how that coalition forms, to see what type of agenda the next government will put forth.
Thank you very much. That was our correspondent Roee Ruttenberg in Rome. Of course, he will bring us the latest on the Italian election, which results will be coming out late Monday or early Tuesday.